Hey everybody.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to
the Laborhood.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
At this point, I say we just make it a thing.
Okay. I mean, we could. But wow, we are on the season finale. Yeah. Season finale.
We've had too much
Season
fun.
1. Wow.
How are you feeling?
Excited. Like, you know how, like, when you do something for the first time, you kind of know how it runs. So that the next time you do it, it's like, nah. I know someone's gonna make it better. I know someone's gonna make it better. That's how I feel. Like, already, like, thinking about things that are gonna happen in season 2, guests that we're gonna have. And it's just like, if y'all thought this season was fun, wait till season 2.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But I'm excited. I'm excited for sure. Season finale. I can't believe we're already here. I feel like we just launched.
Yeah.
We just launched like 2 weeks ago.
I was gonna say that's what it feels like.
Yeah. But thank y'all for
thank you
for hanging tight with us. If you shared something, if you liked something, if you listened to something, if you commented on something, if you DM'd us, if you did any of that stuff.
If you giggled while listening.
Yeah.
If you caught a laugh.
Ha 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 ha. Key.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys so much. You have been a part of us on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
You've accepted us. You have took us into your own birthing communities.
Yeah.
And we just can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah. Y'all told me some stuff y'all ain't even told social media yet. And I appreciate that. It's not really a HIPAA thing, but I traded it like that. So I ain't told nobody. So if you told me something out of sheer trust and confidence, I didn't tell anyone. And yeah, just like if I was your nurse, if you told me something, I wouldn't tell anybody. So yes, but I appreciate you guys trusting us and listening to us and hanging tight with us. Listen, stay tuned because we have so much more fun stuff ahead. We're going to keep teaching you guys, what's the word I'm looking for? Not just teaching, but like exposing you guys, I guess, to different things, different options, different, even just ways to think about labor and to think about having a baby.
Mm-hmm. And we hope that we have like taken some of the fear out of pregnancy and labor and all of those things thus far. Yeah, so, for sure. That was our goal.
Yes, because I think a lot of things, like you said, I think a lot of things that we touched on and a lot of the things that people have shared with us were like, I heard this, is this true? Or like, they said this and this happened when I was born. What is that? And it's like, it sounds scary. It sounds scary. But it's kind of just like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Nothing to be scared of. And if you are scared, that's okay. Let me kind of educate you on it so that if it does happen to you, you won't be so scared.
Yeah.
You won't be so scared.
Yeah.
So with this being the finale, we kind of wanted to reach back and kind of hint on some things that we may have missed or we had to talk through quickly in previous episodes. So there are some things that, you know, you might hear and it's like, oh, I remember y'all saying that, but you don't remember what episode it was. That's okay, because that's why we here.
We have a visitor again, and he's on Paw Patrol right now.
Literally.
So if you hear something in the background, just know that he is always a special guest on the Laborhood podcast.
He won't be. Not next time. He won't be his grandma. Listen, it's just like motherhood, y'all. It's just like motherhood.
Always a special guest.
Literally. Dang. Down somewhere. Okay, anyway. Anywho. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna like chit chat about just a little bit, because we've actually had I've had a DM come through that was asking about this. And it's about monitoring during labor.
Yep.
Like if, monitoring was needed or if it's necessary and how much monitoring was needed and if they had to stay on it the whole time and things like that. So it really is dependent upon a few things. It's contingent upon the hospital policy, is contingent upon
where you give birth at.
Yeah, where you give birth, whether it's like in a hospital, at home, a birth center, things of that nature. And it also depends on if there are any comorbidities involved health-wise with you or baby that might require some extra monitoring. So when we talk about monitoring, we're talking about the fetal heart rate and the contraction pattern. So monitoring, we have the fetal heart rate monitor and we have the contraction monitor, both in which at least start out on the outside. Certain instances where if the mom is in early labor, if she is low risk or what we consider low risk, some providers might put in the order that she doesn't have to be on the monitor continuously. They might say, I'm trying to think what's a type of monitoring that I've had. Maybe I've had a mom only have to be on the monitor for 10 minutes every hour. And I think that was even during active labor. I've had something what's called IA, which is intermittent auscultation, which is where all I did was take a Doppler, which is it's not actually like the little strap monitor that that you guys know what I'm talking about. It looks like a little small ultrasound, and all you do is listen for the heart rate. And because, the nurses are trained to know what we're listening for, we know how to calculate a heart rate. We know how to listen for accelerations and decelerations as it relates to contractions. So that is an option for low risk moms. Things that require continuous monitoring, which is where the monitors don't come off unless, if you're unepiduralized, if you have to go to the bathroom, you can be unplugged from the monitor and you can go and come back. But there are some instances where you are continuously monitored. If you're on Pitocin, it's continuous monitoring. If you have an epidural, it's continuous monitoring. If you've received some kind of pain medication, like through your IV, it's continuous monitoring. If you are there in the hospital because of some obstetrical issue where it's like, I'm trying to think what's one where I've had one. Fetal growth restriction, I know, is one.
Continuous?
Mm-hmm.
TOLAX,
which is a trial of labor after cesarean. So if the pregnancy before this one or the pregnancy before that one was a C-section, you have a scar on your uterus, you will be continuously monitored throughout your whole labor process.
Pitocin.
If you're on
Pitocin, you need to be continuously monitored.
Yes.
If your baby has a fetal arrhythmia, like a known fetal arrhythmia, they will usually like for them to be continuously monitored. Yeah.
I think that might be it.
As far as
monitoring goes.
As far as monitoring, yeah. Intermittent auscultation, yes, with the Doppler. I want to say you have to listen for at least 1 minute. And you listen before, during, and after a contraction. In early labor, I want to say it's at least every 15 to 30 minutes. So every 15 to 30 minutes during early labor, every 10 to 15 during active labor, and every 5 minutes during pushing.
I did know the every 5 minute part because I just had a patient that was like that. So yeah.
And if you don't believe me, that's on Evidence-Based Birth as well as the ACNM website, American College for Nurse Midwives.
Gotcha. The next thing. She was swirling around on the socials for a little while. Yeah, because I saw and I was like,
no baby, no boo.
And that's we didn't really talk about this. I don't feel like we talked about this at all. Maybe we did, but I don't remember. And that's an IV. Now, at one point, I remember seeing this on social media because it made my heart rate go up very high. But people were saying that IVs are not necessary. They're not necessary you don't need an IV. You're low risk. not, you don't have any comorbidities. You're not sick, you don't need an IV. And my thought process to that is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Have I taken care of patients that didn't have an IV because they, refused one, and that's 100% their right to do so.
Opted out. Patients opted out.
Okay, we're trying to change our language. Patients opted out for...
I use that in my notes and documentation too now.
That's cute. They opted out of having an IV. Sure, that they did, and like I said, that's 100% their choice. In those same instances, have I had to give them medications later during recovery? Yes. Is it fun sticking someone who has lost a lot of their volume trying to find their veins?
No, baby.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not fun for you or me, especially when usually by that time we're needing an IV because something is happening. We're in a rush.
Yeah.
We need to do something quickly, and trying to get an IV and missing the third time because now your volume is depleted.
It's on the floor. Your body
or in the bag, in the bag or whatever. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard for us and the patient.
The patient, the CRNA. Now we got to get anesthesia.
Yes, it starts to get hard. So I think, I'm not sure why that became a thing, because you can have an IV and for your entire stay, nothing will ever go through it. Because if you don't need something or if you don't want something, then I don't give it.
Right.
But it very much goes back to, let's stay ready so we don't have to get ready. I have placed IVs, especially for early inductions, and just been like, okay, they can start your fluids or whatever tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to pump you full of fluids. I don't have to pump you full of meds if I don't need to. Right. And I won't if I don't need to. But I think not having an IV is just, and this is just my own personal opinion, I think it's silly. It's silly and it's a bit dangerous, because I always go back to the worst postpartum hemorrhage I ever had in my whole life. My patient, again, granted, this particular patient had an IV because she had an epidural, but had she gone unmedicated and she came in and she said, I just don't really want an IV, nobody would have batted an eye, particularly the provider, because it was like, oh, she's low risk, she's fine, she doesn't need anything. She did need a lot, actually. She needed a lot.
And she needed blood afterwards.
A lot, actually. She needed about 5 units.
And you know what? In order for you to get blood, guess what you need?
You can't swallow it, so you need an IV, babe. You need an IV.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Yeah.
Because I am one of those providers, like, one, I'm not going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And two, I've seen low risk birth situations where an IV was not a necessity. Yeah. I'll say that.
Yes.
It was a good option to have, but it wasn't a necessity. Like you said, she had it, but never used it.
Yeah.
The caveat to that is, devil's advocate on that, let's be logical here.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, I can be logical.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come into a hospital, what the things that they're going to want from you is a CBC, because they want to know what your platelet count is to start, and what your hemoglobin looks like to start. Mm-hmm. They're also going to want a type-in screen. So what your blood type is, if we need to do like ROGAM or something afterwards, that will be able to tell us that. They also want to do what we call a RPR, which is testing for like syphilis and other bloodborne STD type things. So you're automatically gonna get stuck that one time.
Yeah.
Right?
At least
that one time. Why not let that one time where you be stuck be an IV? Because think about it. Let's say you don't get one, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're dehydrated. Now we got to give you an IV anyway because you are refusing to drink while you're in labor.
Because you like vomiting or something. You know, because that happens too.
Okay, so now you've been stuck twice. Mm-hmm. Or let's say that's not the case. You still had your blood drawn when you first got here, but now you need, let's say we give you postpartum Pitocin in a shot versus 3 or IV. Now you've been stuck twice.
Sure.
Let's say that postpartum pit doesn't work and you need something else and we have to give you Methergent or Hemabate or whatever. Now you've been stuck 3, maybe 4 times. Let's say we can't stop your bleeding or you need to go to the OR for a C-section that was unplanned. Now you need an IV, which you could have just gotten stuck that one time. In the beginning, we could have drawn your lab work and put in an IV all at the same time, one stick. So let's be logical here. Do you want to risk being stuck multiple times down the line and possibly still having to have an IV? Or do you just want everything done that one time? You only have to get stuck because people are afraid of needles, right? So
they're petrified.
So why are we going to do this to ourselves? That's my devil's advocate. If you don't want one, I'm not going to force you into it. But the same way I just explained it to all the girlies out there, I'm going to explain it to the patient like that too.
We love a provider standpoint because it's needed. And that was really good. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. So it's obviously your choice. If you were at home and you were delivering, you wouldn't have an IV. But I mean, if you're in a hospital setting, we have precautions and protocols in place to keep you safe, including getting blood work when you first arrive. Period. Whether you're going for a C-section, whether you're going for a induction, whether you came in spontaneously laboring.
Very true. Well, there's that. We know how we feel on IVs, okay? Oh, we had this question pop up in our DMs, and we thought it was a really good question. So we said we're just going to bring it into the episode. And someone asked about when was a good time to introduce their birth plan, which for me as the nurse, and if you saw it on our Instagram, you can kind of go back and see what we were talking about. But if not, me and Shay had 2 kind of different perspectives for that person or that listener, because I gave the nurse perspective and Shay gave the provider perspective. So from the nurse perspective, I like to see, if you have a birth plan, I like to see it as soon as you get there, whether you're coming in for induction, or if you're coming in spontaneous labor. Because at some point I want to not only see it, but then I want to sit down with you and talk about it. Whether, it's certain kinds of monitoring, what you want for pain control, what medications you do or don't want for your baby. If all those things are in your birth plan, I like to go over it with you. And I think they also had a question about how many copies of it should they bring. I think 2 is good, because one of the copies, like the one that you give me that we go over in the labor room, I will leave it at the bedside. So that when I'm coming in to give report to the oncoming nurse, if you get a new nurse, let's say you don't deliver with me and you get a new nurse, I leave it at the bedside so that when I'm giving report, I can say, oh, here's Miss So-and-so's birth plan. These are the things that she wants. We've already talked about it. But if there's anything, you want to go over with her, it's right here at the bedside for you to reference with her and her partner or whoever. And then, in the event that it gets wet or something, which could always happen, in labor, you have that second copy for backup that you can take with you on to postpartum. If there's something that involves baby that you want to let your mother baby nurse know, you have that extra copy to do that. So that was my take on birth plans and when to introduce them, I guess, when you get to the hospital.
Okay. I obviously see patients in their prenatal care, when they find out they're pregnant, they come and see me. And that's when I start asking about your birth plan. Do you have a birth plan in place? From your very first visit, I want to know what your desires are, how your last pregnancy went, if you were pregnant before, how did your labor and birth and all of that experience go, and how can we adjust that to this current pregnancy and expectations. And then more towards the end of your pregnancy, we start to hone in and finalize what your desires and wishes are, and creating like a rock solid birth plan, not only for us as the provider and the staff nurses, but also for your support people, like your support system. I feel like it's very important for them to know what you and your partner have decided for the birth of this child. That's my take on.
Cool.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. 9 months is a long time to change your mind. Like, let's say you didn't want erythromycin when you found out you were pregnant, and you're like, you know what? I've done my research. I think that I do want it. That's a long 9 months is a long time to grow, change, learn, educate. Even like just, I don't want to do that no more.
Because you might come in thinking, oh, I don't want anything. I don't want anything on board. I don't want any medication. By that 40th week, you might be like, honestly, girl, you can give me a C-section. I don't give two shits about what y'all do. Get this baby out.
Or even like,
I don't care what you do.
I had a patient who, I saw her the first time. She was like, I want a water birth. Absolutely. We set her up with the class. You have to meet with a midwife for our practice to get a water birth and all of this, that, and the third. Baby, I saw her last week and she said, oh, nobody told me that I can't get an epidural with my water birth. She was like, yeah, no, baby, I don't want to do that anymore. I said, okay. Okay. So that's what I mean. Like, your birth plan can obviously change throughout.
Okay? I got to hurt while I'm in the water? No thanks. No thanks.
She said, I did my class and nobody told me that I cannot get an epidural with my water birth.
So she thought she was going to be floating in the water. Not hurting.
She's like, oh, no, never mind.
I know that we love a person that learns.
And that's what she found that out on her own. So
love that.
Educate yourselves, ladies.
Love that. That is funny. Oh, wait, nobody told me. Hold on.
I was like going over the consents and everything with her, and she was like, "Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about that." I said, "What do you mean?"
Okay, you wasn't on your Zoom. Hold on, let me tell you. I don't want to do none of that.
She was like, "You can take it off the
I don't want to do none of that.
Take that out of my sticky notes.
I'm signing for my epidural. I don't need to do none of that. That is,
and I felt like I had like educated her on like, this is a form of pain relief, and that you will not be like getting epidural and IV pain medication. I feel like we had that first chat, but I think it went in one ear.
Yeah,
the other
she was taking it a lot.
And
that one part just kind of like, overhead. That's funny. I love that though. But that's such a good example how like the birth plan can change. It's like, no, baby, I'm not doing that. That's funny. I love that though. There was what was this? Oh, this thing. Okay, so I hear this a lot. I say a lot all the time, but I also talk to a lot of different people about birth in and out of work, like personal, social media. Like, I talk to a lot of people, so I guess when I say a lot, I really do mean a lot. But talking about umbilical cords, you hear a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, my baby was born with a cord around its neck, or if we're looking at the monitor as providers, and it's like, I bet that baby got a new cord.
I know that baby got a new cord.
I bet you $5 tomorrow when I get paid, that baby has a umbilical cord. And pretty much every time it comes out, it's like, yep, there's the culprit. Mm-hmm. Whether it's around the neck or around the shoulder or at the body or,
I watched this strip the other day. And the strip itself was giving me heart palpitations. Just because, like, I knew that baby would be a lot better on the outside than on the inside. Yeah. And she was making change. It was just, like, kind of slow. And she had, like, particulate meconium. And every time she had a contraction, the baby's heart rate would dip down into the 60s. But as soon as the contraction was over, it would come back up. And I was like, I know that this baby has a nuchal cord. I said, it's a cord in there somewhere. I don't know where it is.
You have to say, so maybe I should, let's go back. A nuchal cord is when the umbilical cord is around the baby's neck, usually. But it can be wrapped around other places because you have to think babies are in there just, living life, swimming, and getting kind of sometimes getting tangled in,
it is cord. Not uncommon.
And actually, in December of 2002, the University of New Mexico put out an article, and it actually says that, of course, they're actually quite common, and that they occur in 20 to 30% of pregnancies.
That's impressive.
And it actually sounds about right.
Yeah.
There are some that we know, we can look on the monitor, it's like, oh yeah, that baby sure got a nuchal. But then it comes out, sometimes it's like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, a nuchal cord. They are usually just reduced at when the head comes out. Oh, Shay's waving her finger at me, guys.
Okay.
Is it my terminology? Is that what you're...
No.
Okay.
That patient I was telling you about with the 60s, she had a triple nuchal antibody. And it was not reducible. I tried to reduce it.
Yeah, 3 times.
She had it 3 times around her neck, and it was from her belly button wrapped around her wrist, up around her shoulder.
First of all, I would have loved
did you measure
it? Did you measure the cord when it was all said and done?
No, but when I unwrapped her, she had cord in the bag.
I was about to say, I'm sure it was. Your cord got to be dumb long to wrap that many times.
It was wrapped around her wrist. It went up underneath her armpit, over top of her shoulder, and around her neck 3 times.
I know that strip looked like trash.
Yeah. But came out kicking and screaming.
They always do. You over there about to your heart and your stomach, God.
Yeah.
Dang, hurry up and come out. You know who else had a raging? It wasn't even a nuchal. I think it was just wrapped all over the place. Our good friend Chelsea.
Oh,
her son, Chelsea Turner. Hey, girl, I know you're listening.
I was put her business out there like that.
That's my girl. She be listening.
I know. Look. Hey, Sarah. I know you listening, but don't be putting her business out there like that.
She don't mind if I tell the story. I tell it all the time.
No, that's fine. Just don't be saying her name and all that. People gonna be like, "Oh, that was you."
Okay, girl. Anyway,
I feel like that is a HIPAA violation.
Okay, girl. So our good friend Chelsea.
Oh, hey, girl.
I was her nurse during labor. Sweet Jay. Oh, Jay. That strip about took me out of here, but. That's my boy now. But anyway,
I was going to say, and he is happy and healthy.
He is just the sweetest thing. But when I tell you that cord came out and it was around his shoulder, it was around I think it was around his foot. It was all kind of places. And I said, what were you doing in there? Oh, he was so wrapped up and it showed on the monitor. Oh, heart attack. Plenty of them. It's just a little different when you take care of somebody you know.
Right.
Because it's whoa, your baby is giving me a heart attack. But you try to, you got to keep it together for them because they're trusting you. And, it's just but yeah.
And the thing is, when there are cords wrapped around various body parts,
we don't know.
We don't know, for one. And 2, I don't want to scare the people. Yes, the fetal heart rate can drop with cords wrapped around places.
It can drop if you hold your breath long enough. I
was gonna say it's reassuring when it comes back up.
That's how we be knowing.
That's how we know that it's a cord. If it goes down and it comes right back up, and as long as you're not having a contraction, it's fine. Mm-hmm. That's where we're okay, there's a cord somewhere.
Because you have to think about what's happening is, when the pressure is being put on the cord is when you see that, that deceleration. And literally when it's alleviated in the cord, it's I'm fine. It comes right back up. It's okay. I'll just get off this artery right here. It's fine. It's no worries, guys.
I'm fine.
No, it's fine. We're fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine. So yeah, cords being wrapped in places, common. it sounds very scary. Because before I knew what I knew, oh my God, baby was born with a cord wrapped around his neck. It was like, yeah, it was fine though.
Yeah.
And now I know what I know. And
it is very common, guys. So if that happens to your baby,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. Last thing. Because how you feel about, I'm trying to think how you feel about something. How do you feel about something? I don't know. Something you're very passionate about.
What did we just talk about a couple weeks ago? Well, on the last episode, and I was like, oxytocin.
Oh yeah. Okay, the way you feel about that is the way I feel about this last little thing.
Okay,
and that's delayed cord clamping. I am a stickler for that. You gonna give me my first minute. Don't clamp before. Don't do none of that. Matter of fact, I might be slow about turning the baby over. Like, oh, I'm drying the baby off. Looking at my time. Like, at least give me my minute. My baby is screaming. My baby is just fine. It's transitioning perfectly. Give me my first minute. So, delayed cord clamping.
It is exactly what it sounds like.
It's literally exactly what it sounds like. So,
baby, we typically take baby comes out of whatever orifice it comes out.
However it come out,
and we leave the cord attached and attached with blood flow from the placenta for at least a minute. That's ACOG guidelines, ACNM guidelines, the Royal College of Obstetrician and Gynecologists. They also recommend it. It is very good for their blood. So education moment, guys. 1/3 of fetal blood is still pumping from the placenta after baby comes out. Okay. So by giving baby as much blood as we can from the placenta, we help with their hemoglobin, we help with their iron, we help with all of those things. We help with maternal nutrients and everything else.
Volume, all those things. Transitional circulation, because that first minute, that baby's circulatory system literally is just like, oh, we got to on our own. It's different now. We're independent. Okay, hold on, guys.
Let me get my feet.
Hold on. Let me figure out what's wet, girl. Like, hold on. We're independent women now. So yes, that does help with that. And I think I've even been with some providers who will leave that thing there until the placenta come out. Like, just be like, okay, it's fine. It's done. And that thing be done pulsing. It'd be about flat. It's done. It's done. It's done.
Shay is that provider.
It's done because now, there are some instances now, we also want to preface that this is for, vigorous crying infants.
Okay, and it's really, really good for preterm infants too. So if you deliver preterm, then we will try and
absolutely, especially if that baby is crying. I've had a 28-weeker wait. The baby came out, was crying, moving, good tone. Even the NICU was like, leave it, let it have that first minute, and let all that that last little bit come through. So yes, I have. The NICU does like it too.
See,
they do. They do. The NICU likes it.
So the recommendation from all of these journals and articles and studies is at least 30 to 60 seconds. Yes. Some of them even say between 2 and 5. And then the ACNM minutes, sorry. Between 2 and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the ACNM recommends stop pulsating.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
That's how I practice. As long as the baby is fine and mom is not bleeding profusely or anything like that, I will delay the cord clamping until it stops pulsating. Yeah, they do it. Yeah. Until it stops pulsating. I'm seeing a lot of things where the cord turns white, which usually happens when it stops pulsating. So if that's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Give me my minute. Give me my minute.
Yeah. And I'm not good. That's like what golden hour time, skin to skin.
Yes.
All of the things.
Yes. That's once it's out, I feel like, okay, this is my baby now. Okay, this is my baby. It's out. You work down there. This is my baby right here. Let me get my minute. Let me get my hat on. Let me get it dry. Let me get it skin to skin. Like, I feel like this is really where I get my flow from after delivery. Really? Yeah.
Let me also say that, let's say your baby's first Apgar is like 7 at a minute. I'm still going to let the cord pulse. Like, I'm still going to let the cord keep doing what it's doing until it stops. Even if their Apgar is like 6 at the first minute, I will still allow. Yeah. The only time I won't is if that first Apgar is 0 at a minute.
Or no, if it come out and if my drying still and if my baby's head still rolling because ain't no tone. Okay, baby, we gotta clamp and cut. We gotta clamp and cut a little early. Because I need to get it over to the warmer and maybe do a little extra or call some friends to try to get my baby to come around a little bit better. But otherwise, I can deal with a 6. I can deal with a 6 Apgar.
We need to move Lonzo.
That ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
I can deal with that. Because I'm probably at least breathing. I'm crying. I might be a little floppy.
And my color's probably
trash. My color's a little trash, but that's okay. Because Nurse Bria is gonna keep working, and you're gonna cry before I leave anywhere. So I'm gonna.
You're gonna at least show signs that you're trying anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I will at least that full minute. Period.
I love that. Yeah. I love
and it's becoming standard practice in a lot of hospitals.
Yes, and because I see it on a lot of birth clinics. So here's the thing: I have always done the minute wherever I pray, and I've been doing this. Next month made 7 years. Mm-hmm. Every hospital that I've been at, even early when I started doing L&D back in 2016, that was the minute.
The standard.
The minute was the standard,
right?
And that has not really wavered at all the different institutions that I've worked at. Some providers might get a little clamp happy.
All right, we had a minute.
Some providers get a little clamp happy, but otherwise, absolutely, like the minute is the standard for sure. The minute is the standard. That's all I had on my list.
Since we're talking about placentas and delayed cord clamping and all the things, I wanted your take on.
Don't you say it. Don't you say it because I'm gonna scream.
On Lotus birth.
Okay. Not a fan.
Can you tell the people why?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the way to say it where I don't sound like a hater.
Okay, well, while she thinks of that,
a
lotus birth is where you birth the placenta and it is still attached to the baby, and they allow for the placenta and the cord to dry out completely prior to separation. Like they let how your baby's umbilical cord falls off after it dries out and it falls off after like a week or two. Mm-hmm. They will, I think it's like a week. Usually
a week or something like that. Yeah.
They will keep the placenta attached to the baby until it falls off by itself.
They carry it around with the baby.
Yes. Like for that week.
In its own little.
It's got like a little pouch.
A pouch.
With like dried herbs. And
the reason I am not a fan, one, because a lot of pediatricians do not like them, but also I guess, I'm totally fine when somebody gets in the comments or our DMs and educates me, because my thought process is because from what I've always heard is that, we want all that good blood to like go to the baby and, get all those extra nutrients. I get that. But once the cord has stopped pulsating, how are these nutrients getting there?
I agree with that. That's my take on it.
How are these nutrients getting there?
Yes.
And I also think like this whole time, the placenta was getting its nutrients and its oxygen, all these great things from the mom.
That's exactly
the mom is no longer a factor here. So the placenta is not getting any more nutrients than what it had that when it came out, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So whether it had great nutrients or whether it had not so great nutrients, it's not getting any more because it's no longer attached to the source that it was getting those nutrients from.
Agreed.
And so I don't understand how it can be giving baby extra nutrients if it's
it's no longer
and like I said, once that baby circulatory system has fully functioned on its own and this cord is no longer pulsating, the placenta has done
its job.
And I'm gonna tell you how I know people are like, well, I've even seen people say like, well, that's what they did, blah, blah, blah. No, they didn't, because I don't think if you've ever seen this wonderful documentary. It's like in black and white. It's really good. It's about midwives. It's
the Granny Midwives one?
Kind of, but is it called All My Babies? Or something like that. Really, really good. Mm-hmm. Really, really good.
I've seen a part of All My Babies, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
The whole thing is really good. And I mean, like 1950s, midwife walked to the house, delivered the baby. Do you know what she did with that placenta?
Incinerated.
She tied it up. The baby was newborn. We not waiting. Like, it's not drying off on its own. She tied it. She cut it. She put that placenta in something. You know what she did? She threw it in the wood oven. She burned it.
Because you don't need it. You don't need it.
It has done its job.
My personal opinion about it is, and this is just my personal opinion, I will do the research to really figure this out.
And guess what? If you come in and you tell me your pediatrician said you can do it, okay, girl.
Talk to your OB about it, because they're the ones that are going to have to be able to say yay or nay to a lotus birth. Like if you got choreo and your placenta was really infected,
you don't want to keep that.
That's not baby. That is not a good source of nutrients for your baby.
You don't want them nutrients. You want to get rid of them. Send that thing to the trash, okay?
My thing is, if it was meant to be held onto, our bodies would not expel it. That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. And the same goes for post-labor birth, placental encapsulation, people who ingest it. That's and like I said, I will do some more research on it. I have not found like really, really great studies and articles to support placental encapsulation for ingestion. But again, my take on lotus birthing and all of that is, if we were meant to keep it and it was supposed to provide us with nutrients to sustain life, our bodies would not get rid of it.
Also, it would pulsate longer than 5 minutes after it came out. If the baby really needed it, But yeah, that's how I feel. And that's not.
I feel like the girlies are gonna eat me up on Twitter about this.
Girl, welcome. Welcome to the club.
Somebody is gonna let me have it.
Welcome to the club.
That's fine. Like I said, we love to learn. We love to be educated. So you find a very credible source,
that'd be the one. Say that word again.
Credible.
Thank you.
If you find a very credible article or research study that supports lotus birthing and placental encapsulation for ingestion, please, I want to send it over to me. I want to be able to provide my people with the best knowledge and education and research.
Yeah. That's it. As we go on, we remember.
That is not what I thought you were singing. I really thought you were about to be like, as we go to the end of the road.
I was about to sing that too.
I'm like, wait, seriously?
To the end of the road.
Bria is the singer, not me. I'm really just here for 2-part harmony.
Okay. But yes, guys. So thank you guys so much. From the bottom of my heart.
I'm weak.
We really do thank you for hanging tight with us this first season. we got some fun. Like I said, we got some fun things coming up. Y'all never said anything about merch. Like, let a girl know. Like, do I need get some shirts, some crew necks, some hats, some water bottles? What we need to do? What we need to do? Scrub cap, badge reel, something.
We can definitely make badge reels happen.
Just let me know.
We got the plug for that.
Let me know if you want a little merch. We can make it happen if you want to.
Put some of. Let us know like your favorite sayings from the podcast that you have heard us say, or like I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna go live in a few weeks, and we're gonna chat with y'all. We'll let y'all know when though. We're not gonna surprise you. We'll let you know when. But yes, thank you guys so much. We love you. We love you. We love you. Y'all have really surpassed. I know my expectations for sure. Of what I thought this first season was gonna look like.
Mine too.
Yeah.
And I love the engagement that you guys are having.
Y'all be in the comments like, now, girl, what? Like, huh? But yes, I love it. I love it. And keep it going. Keep sharing. Keep liking. Whatever you've been doing, we really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
And we cannot wait to see y'all next season.
Oh my gosh. As always, it is your favorite nurse midwife and your favorite certified registered nurse and inpatient obstetrics.
Period.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Laborhood podcast with Bria and Shay. You can find us on all of your social media platforms at the Laborhood Pod. You can at
Sadidi _Essence.
You can at underscore the Shayster, SHAYSTER.
Yeah.
We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll holler at y'all later.
You're free to go, girl.